Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to be keynoting this session, and it's titled Engaging with the Customers of Tomorrow, Fostering Innovations for the Digital Customer. My name is Jue Wong, and I'm the CEO at Olaplex. Today's session, I'm going to try to cover for you what this digital transformation and what it means for you with the customer is all about. But it is safe to caveat this and say that with the pandemic of COVID, we have seen an accelerated progress to how consumers are shopping. What could have taken 3 to 4 years to get to has basically become much faster and much more needed than before. And because customers have now had some sort of experience, one way or another, whether it's buying necessity online or buying luxury goods, or buying things that they would normally have gone to the store for their self-care, for their fashion, it is something that most of us or more of us are being open to. So consumer behavior refers to the process of making online purchases from the perspective of a customer. Usually when you look at an online consumer, what they do is, how are they being influenced online? They look at advertising, all of the pop-ups, the willingness of a customer to actually click on links, the prevalence of comparison shopping, which I'm sure all of us does. We look at product reviews, we look at pricing, we look at alternative options. What influences us ultimately to buy is also very important. And online customer behavior is always constantly evolving. And for small businesses and marketers, knowing how that consumer behavior is changing or is trending will really help us respond with our innovation in connecting, engaging, and converting that customer. So let us look at how the change has been with COVID, during COVID, and it will continue to be the case. When it comes to looking at buying habits, one of the things that we all notice is that we like to talk to people. We like to look at reviews. We like to ask our friends what they think about something. And that's why it gave rise to a whole nation of influencers. And I guess in the Middle East, you know it better than most people. Huda Beauty has something in the last count, 48 million followers. That in itself is a nation, not just a community. So because we know that influencers are so important, the question is, how reliable is this information? And it is therefore very important as a brand that you help to filter a lot of this information that is circulating in the marketplace and help your customer filter that information as well. When the information is reliable and that the people's contact list is followed by that same people who belong in that same network and community, then they trust what they're reading, what they're seeing, and what they're hearing. So it is important that you create not only a community of people that are your advocates, but also reward that community when they are advocating for you. The other thing that we are noticing on the digital trend is that unlike in the past, people will walk into a store knowing that the store is kind of a lead on its own. But today people are walking into digital spaces and feeling a lot more empowered in how they want to be seen and how they want to be respected. And in many ways, they're looking for cues as to whether those content reflect who they are and that they identify with it. So this is something of a shift or a big shift in online consumer behavior, because with the pandemic and also coming through in those recent times, just as I said, accelerated by the pandemic, is people want to be involved in content creation. For brands like customers who want to be involved in improving existing products, being involved in focus groups, looking at your product innovation and asking them for their opinion, using whether it's surveys or contests or cattle calls to have them come in and participate within your vision are all very, very important in today's climate. Consumer now wants to be part of the process, part of the solution. And when they find that through that process, some of their ideas have been incorporated, they get super excited, and guess what they do? They tell their friends. And most of them generally will have multiple social platforms, so they will be communicating throughout all those platforms about their involvement and about their contribution. Social media is more important than ever. And we see this because we all have seen this. Social media is no longer a nice to have for a lot of companies, for a lot of brands, and for a lot of products. It is essentially a must-have. It is as necessary as it used to be when people wanted to advertise in print. So sites like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, as we have seen, are now great and very necessary social network where you can reach essentially 25% of the world's population. And in the case of China, you're reaching virtually everyone via their mobile or smartphone. So a couple of statistics. In the US, it is estimated that about 174 million people are on social media at any point in time. That's literally 50% of the population. And as I mentioned, in China, it's literally 100% of the population. And if your company isn't already on social media with the customers, you must have seen the pain during, or even during now with COVID in play. And makes omni-channel almost seems like a necessity rather than a choice. With social media also comes a lot of what we call fake news, fake information circulating in the marketplace. And I mentioned earlier, it is important for the company to filter this information and help the customers understand the facts from the fiction. However, in order for the customer to trust you, you have to establish that trust. And this is where legacy brands and brands that have been around that has that trust can either leverage it or squander it. New brands has the ability to make that connection because they feel very close to the end consumer. Larger brands sometimes, and especially in today's social media world, tends to have that problem of big company and I don't trust you. But big company has resources beyond what small companies can do. You can do more research. You can innovate with more product development resources. And you have the capital and the resources to really communicate what you have done. So I would encourage you to use a social media platform to communicate the well and the good that you can do and you have been doing. Smaller organizations are much nimble and are able to use social media to make that connection. Wherever the spectrum you're on, you've got an ability to make that connection. So use it. And when I say consumer want facts, it is very clear that they will also do their own research. So with their own research, they are going to come back and question you. And I'm sure you have seen it, whether it's through DMs, whether it's through the comments that they are posting, or they are writing to your company's website through email. Make sure that you respond with authenticity, with speed, and in the event that you are slow, explain why. That you were not slow because you were backpedaling. You were slower because you were thoughtful. And when you do come up with a response, make it such that it reflects and it shows that you were thinking through everything before answering to your public, so to speak. Imagery and content and visuals make a difference for the consumer in this fleeting digital space. their attention span is very, very limited. And if you have content that does not resonate in the first instance, they are scrolling you off that screen. Nothing is clearer than what you see on Instagram and TikTok. Once that scroll has gone up, it's very likely it's going to come back down. So you've got that nanosecond to make an impression. And it is no secret that we all respond to visuals much stronger than to words. And that was the reason why, when I was doing this taping, that they tried to tell me that better for me to speak rather than to have multiple slides, because it is not all about the PowerPoint presentation, it's about the connection. We all have seen great images, great videos. Those go viral. But one more time somebody tells me, please create a video or content that will go viral. Understand, you don't intend never to make content that never to go viral. But going viral is the ability to connect with the psyche of everybody, of a lot of bodies. And we are all better off trying to communicate to our community with precision and with honesty and authenticity, than try to talk to as many people that we think should be listening. Because advocacy is much stronger than just standing on a pulpit and telling everybody how great you are. Well, tips for creating great content is no secret. Organic content is really strong because people like to know what other people can create. So I would encourage you to really draw on what we call UGCs, or user-generated content. At Olaplex, I have learned firsthand, because I've only joined the company less than 6 months ago, but I have been the beneficiary in watching how great the content creation is, how engaged our followers are. Not because we are the authority, but rather because we are their community. And if you put yourself always in their shoes, they know that supporting you is like supporting themselves. The other thing about online and digital businesses, just like brick and mortar, is consumers don't like to wait. How many times yourself as a customer have been around, you order something, you get a confirmation, and then it says, oh, I will let you know when your product ships. You wait, and you wait, and you wait, and nothing comes. You send an email, and they basically give you a very generic scripted response. And do you find yourself getting angry and you're not able to talk to anyone? In the good old days, you may call a customer service support line, or you go down into the store and you probably let them know or give them a piece of your mind. But today online, with a lot of robot customer service support, it is actually quite difficult to get a live person to vent your frustration. So guess where you're going to vent? You're going to vent on social media. You're going to tell your friends. And that is something that you do not want. So always try to under-promise and over-deliver. The problem with speed is that once they're used to it, they will never want to go back to a slower time. And we have seen this again in the pandemic, especially in the US and in a lot of other retailers, where they have a disclaimer and they're saying things are going to be slower because of COVID. And while people are understanding, slower for some people are all relative. So if you are going to be slower, then please let them know how much slower are you talking about? Because managing expectation is much stronger than trying to budget and then get the customer really upset. Because if you tell them, look, it's really going to take 10 business days to get to them, then make sure that it gets to them in that 9th business day, not in the 12th business day. I personally went through an experience through an unnamed retailer that I essentially had to basically cancel my order even before it arrived, because it was getting to a point that by the time I get it, it will probably be Christmas. So we may want instantaneous, but we are also realistic, and therefore give the customer, manage their expectations. The other thing too, which ties in very closely with facts, is honesty counts and influences online customers' behavior. Online customer wants to form a relationship. We are all social animals, and we all have a sense of loyalty and a sense of community. If we can stay with a brand and stay with a company, very often you will find that if a customer has bought more than 2 times with a company or online, that lifetime value escalates tremendously because they know what it's like to be part of a community. And the way the community stands for themselves and the brand stands for itself is truly powerful. And I'll give you a working example. Chewy.com is a pet supply online store in the US. And they have made it their policy to treat pet owners like family. And when a company says that, a lot of people can automatically think, yeah, it's just a slogan. It's just something that you say. But what they have done is that pet owners do buy things on an ongoing basis. It's what we call Autoship, because our pets, they will eat the food, they seem to like the same food, and you just put it on auto replenishment. But there are also times when what happens is pets grow old and they pass on. And you may have an auto ship that is just about to ship to you. And you know you don't need that food anymore. Chewy.com makes it a point that if you do call them and let them know that your pet has passed and that you do not need that online shipment, they give you 2 options. They will still ship the goods to you for free for that, or they tell you they won't ship it, but if you want to pay for it, they'll donate it to a shelter. And they always follow up with a card and flowers. And it is very touching. While I have lost my pet, I have not gotten a new pet since, I tell every pet owner about Chewy.com. And just the other day, I was able to get to some 3,000 of my followers on social media platforms to really share with them what Chewy.com was doing, because I read in a post in another feed of what they have done for other customers. And I realized that this company does put their money where their mouth is. Another good instance is Zappos. When he was still under Tony Xia, and he wrote a book, In Pursuit of Happiness. I was reading that book many years ago, and I was stuck in a certain state after a meeting because the flight got canceled, and it happened to be the last flight of the day. I forgot to bring a charger for my phone, and I knew that the charge was not going to last through the day. And I just finished reading Tony Xia's book, Delivering Happiness. And in that book, he wrote when he was in Costa Rica, he needed something. He needed to find out where a pizzeria was. And Zappos, as we all know, is about shoes. But he didn't identify himself as Tony Xia. He called customer service and he said, I'm a customer, and really, could you help me find a pizzeria? And Zappos customer service support at that time was empowered to really do whatever it takes for that caller that comes in, even if they are not a Zappos customer. Yes, customer service was legendary. And so what happened was, Tony Xia asked the question and he got referred to a pizzeria, and it was documented in the book. And when I was reading that passage, I really didn't believe it. I kind of think, okay, it's a good story for the book. But when it happened to me and I was stuck in that state without a charger for my phone and knowing that I wasn't going to last through the evening without a charger, I did give Zappos customer service a call. And guess what? Well, they could not deliver a charger for free to me. They directed me to Radio Shack, and they helped me find the number. I make the call, and my charger got delivered for a fee that I gladly paid. That was well over 10 years ago, and I am still telling you that story. And I've just told probably 800 people at Seamless about this story. That's the power of being authentic, being honest, and giving service that means so much. So when we talk about engaging the customer of the future, it is not just about the digital, the bells and whistles, the technology. It is still about the human connection, that human empathy, and that community that you belong to. So when you are engaging your customer and you are trying to innovate for them, the age-old mantra still works. Customer service rocks, and the customer is definitely king. They are not only king in opening their purse strings, but they are also king when it comes to advocating and promoting your brand, which is more valuable than any advertising you could put into play. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that this has given you a lot of food for thought. It may not be the full 30 minutes that I was thinking of covering, but I do hope that having some time back to yourself will give you some time to review what I have shared. Thank you very much and have a great conference. Take care and bye.